Hey gamer friends, I'm Danielle.
And I'm Josiah,
And we are ready to roll.
It's a big one today.
Yay!
This is a very big video for us. We are doing the first in our series of our top 50 games
Of all time.
Of all time.
Yeah, so we made this list using PubMeeple.
Yep.
That was really fun ranking tool, and we ranked all of our games. And then, well, first, before we did that, we took out like duplicates. So if we had multiples of the same game, but maybe like a variant of that game, I took it out. So it would only be one.
And also expansions.
Expansions, yeah, we took those out.
Yep.
And then I kind of finagled my list a little bit because I found that there were a few games that I'm like, and so I had to kind of mess with it a little while.
So to explain for those who don't know the PubMeeple process, what you do is you load in all of the games that you have into PubMeeple from usually BGG.
Well, it's the games that you have ranked in BGG.
Yeah, you've ranked in BGG. And then so it pulls in all of those games, and then it basically puts two games up in front of you, and you pick the one that you like the most. And it does that, like, I think for me it did it like 534 times.
Yeah, it's a lot of times.
Yeah. And so based on that process, it builds an algorithm it has an algorithm that builds out your top games, your top listed games from 1 to whatever it is, based on the choices that you make in that. And then it gets pretty close. Like for me, I actually liked my list. I thought it did a really good job. You had to make a couple of slight alterations, but yeah.
It does a really good job. It's a good jumping off point.
It is.
Because it's a little overwhelming when you try and like rank everything.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so also about this list, I will say these are my favorites right now in this moment.
Yes.
So if you see a list later on where maybe my list doesn't add up to what it is right now, it's because it's changed. We did not have any specifications as far as like you have to have played this game so many times.
Nope.
Because to me, your favorite games of all time are the ones that you want to play right now. And so it doesn't really matter how many times you've played it. So there's going to be cult of the new games, meaning brand new games that we have only played a few times. They're going to be on my list. And then there's going to be games that we played a ton of times, and they're going to be on the list as well.
Yeah. And what I did was when PubMeeple would put two games up and I was having a hard time deciding which one I liked better, I went through the process of which one would I want to pull off the shelf right now and play.
Yes.
And then made my decision based on that.
I think there's only so much you can do because it's going to change. But anyway, that's what it is. So I know there's going to be games on here that may not end up on my list next year, but we're just going to see. And it'll be fun to compare it too.
It will.
So, okay. Was that all? Do we have any other caveats or anything?
I don't think so. Let's get into it.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
My number 50 game of all time is Nar.
Oh.
Yes. This is a Viking card game. You're sending your Vikings to go off and gain lands, and you're building out, you're trying to get multiple colors of the same cards, so that you can go do those lands and get points and reputation and all that kind of stuff. It's just a really fun game. It's not a long game. It doesn't require a lot of brain power, but it's just really fun. It just works for me.
Yeah, it's a good game. I really enjoyed our plays of Nar, so I'm surprised it already made it to your 50.
It did.
But I like that. I love that.
Yeah. It was really close. And actually my 51 game, I looked at it and I was like, oh man, that's a tight one.
Okay.
I don't know. But Nar just I guess barely edged it out.
Okay.
For the record, my 51 was Res Arcana.
Oh, interesting. Good to know.
Yeah.
My number 50 is called Botany.
Oh.
And this was a game that originally I didn't think that I would like that much. And then we learned how to play it. We played it with our daughter, and I had a lot of fun. And what was interesting to me about this game is that I went away from it after we played it, and I kept thinking about this game. Like, I wonder if you could do this, or I want to go back and see if I could do this. And I think that's the mark of a really good game.
Yeah.
If I'm like thinking about it later, like I want to go try this next time I play that. And so that's how it ultimately made it on this list. Will it be there next year? I don't know. I guess it probably depends on if we play it and if I really enjoy playing it again and again.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, it made the list because I thought about it multiple times. Botany is a game that you get cards of plants and you get to, I don't know, are you exploring? Would you call it exploring the map?
Yeah.
So you go to these different locations and you're basically gathering these plants that you're going to use in various ways. And I just really found it a lot more interesting than I originally thought. So that's why it's on my list. Number 50, Botany.
I will say Botany was a lot higher on my list also than I thought it was.
Really?
It's not in my top 50, but it made it a lot higher than I thought it would because of a lot of the same reasons. Yeah.
I think too, by the way, we're going to have a lot of crossover, but I think because we play the same games.
Right.
But I do think that our lists will be in very different orders.
Oh yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see where everything ends up falling, I think.
Yep. My number 49 game is Azul.
Really?
Yes.
Azul?
Yes. I know that that's a little disappointing for you probably. And I love the game. It's just a game where you're picking tiles. It's a tile drafting game, and you put them on your little tableau board, and you're stacking them up to then move them onto your grid, where you're trying to score points in vertical and horizontal rows and diagonal even, and things like that. So really sort of simple concept, but it's a really fun game. I love it. It's just not as high on my list, I think, as it will be on yours. But yeah.
Well, we'll see. Only time will tell.
We will see.
But yeah, I really like Azul. I like a lot of those like puzzly tile placement games. Yeah. I think they're good.
So that's my number 49, Azul.
My number 49 is Kinfire Delve.
Okay.
So this is the game where it is a card game. It is for 2 players, although they do say you can play with 4 if you have multiple boxes. We have never tried it at 4 players. But it is a game where you are diving down a well, and at the bottom you fight the big bad. I can't remember what it's called. And you place cards, and then other people can play cards on your turn to kind of boost your cards.
Right.
But you only have 10 health for the whole team.
Right.
And so it's a really difficult challenge to not die going down in this well, because you have to
you're fighting all the way down.
And fighting all the way down. That's right. And so I just found it really interesting. I liked the mechanics of it. I liked how simple it was, but yet had a lot to it. I almost said a lot of depth to it. Yeah. But anyway, that's my number 49, Kinfire Delve.
My number 48 is The Loop.
Yay!
Yes. I honestly, if you asked me probably
a year ago,
not even that long, like 6 months ago, if The Loop would be in my top 50, I would have said not a chance.
Yes.
I don't even know if it'd be in my top 100.
Right.
But we got it out on the table again, and I was like, this is a really fun game.
It's so fun.
Yeah, it's got a really cool mechanism where there's a spinny thing in the middle that it's kind of like a little mini dice tower.
It is, yeah, that's really.
And you drop these red cubes in, and then it's got 3 spouts, and so the cube can come out of any one of the 3 spouts, and it's the rifts that Dr. Foe is bringing to the time zone that you're in, because it's different times throughout history.
Yeah, different eras. I think is what
eras. Yeah. And you're just going around trying to defeat Dr. Foe and clear the rifts in time and stuff like that. And so, but it's quirky.
It is.
And really, the cards are kind of funny and stuff like that. It's just, I really enjoyed it so much more than I remember enjoying it when we played it first.
I agree. And I think it's good because it's a game that you could play with kids.
Yeah.
But it also is a game that you could like maybe kind of level it up in difficulty.
Yeah.
So I really like that too, because I feel like it makes it a wide range of people that you can play with.
There's enough game. It's simple enough, but there's enough game there that you can really enjoy it even if you're a gamer.
That's right. Yeah.
I love it.
Really fun.
Yeah, that's my number 48, The Loop.
My number 48 is Deception Murder in Hong Kong. I really, really like this one. This is a social deduction game-ish.
Yeah, it has both social and logical deduction.
It does, and I think that's why I like it. It is, you have these 2 different sets of cards in front of every person, and then there is one person who's kind of, are they like the DM, like the Dungeon Master,
something
Game
like
Master?
That. Game Master, yeah, a little bit.
And they are giving hints as to what the murder weapon was and things like that, and then everybody's trying to figure out who the killer is, and it's one of you, and the clues lead you to part of the cards that are in front of you. It's not so straightforward on who exactly the murderer is, because maybe we both have a clue that could work and sounds like it could be. So there's some things you have to start deducing in the game.
Right.
So I think that one's a really fun one. I like it at the 6-player count. I think that's where it really sings and is a lot of fun. So anyway, that is my number 48, Deception, Murder in Hong Kong.
My number 47 is Paint the Roses. Love this game. It's not one I think I would be able to play over and over and over again. It's also a logical deduction game.
Yes.
It's a highly revisitable game for me.
Yes.
Not a highly replayable game. So yeah, I love it. It's just you get a card and it's set in the world of Alice in Wonderland. You get a card, it tells you what your combination is, whether it's 2 shapes, 2 colors, a color and a shape, whatever it is. And then you give clues based on what's on the board so that the other person can guess what your card is. Right,
it's a cooperative deduction game.
Cooperative deduction, yeah. And the queen is, of course, chasing you, wanting to lop your head off. And you don't want that. No, you don't. You kind of need your head. You need your head. And so, anyway, it's really fun. Super, super fun. I love the game.
Yeah, it is really. We had a lot of fun with it. We played it a lot.
That is my number 47, Paint the Roses.
My number 47 is Castle Combo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I thought that would be so much higher on your list.
I know, I did too, actually. But as I went through it,
it kept falling?
It kept falling.
Okay.
I do love it, though. See, this is why he's surprised, because I love this game. I have so much fun with it. I love that the cards build off of each other. You have to place cards. There's 9 rounds, and you place 9 cards in front of you. Yeah. And so it's 3 rows of 3. And they score based on where they are, based on different criteria that you're meeting. And so I really, really like that. I love the engine building element of it. And I love that it's so snappy.
Yeah, not only engine building, but comboing.
Yes.
Yeah, which are both 2 things that you really love.
I do. I love it.
I also like the aspect where there are 2 rows of sort of market cards that you can buy from, but you can only buy from one at a time depending on where the little marker is.
Yes.
And so it really kind of limits your choice. And maybe there's a card that you really want that's in the row that you can't buy from, and you're like, and you got to wait for it to move up and to buy it.
Or you have to spend a key.
Yeah, you got to spend a key
to go ahead and move to move up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it is super fun game. I really like it.
Good one. Yeah. So number 47, Castle Combo.
I think this one's going to surprise you.
Okay.
My number 46 is Great Western Trail.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That does surprise me.
Yeah. Second edition.
Yeah.
Specifically is the one that we have.
Yeah, we've never played the first edition.
We've not played first edition. I really like it. Every time we play it, I really get into it.
Yeah, you do.
I love the theme. I love the deck building element of it, buying more cattle and selling more cows and everything, and moving around. You get to do an action every card that you land on as you're moving your way up to the train station.
So sometimes it feels like you get to do a whole lot on your turn.
Yeah, and you're doing something every turn.
Yes.
I don't ever feel like I'm having a wasted turn or a turn where I didn't get to do anything. And so I hate it when that happens in a game. And I never feel that in this game. And so anyway, it's just so good to me.
I think this one's grown on you too, because I feel like the first time you played it, you were like iffy on it.
Yes.
And then we played it again. You were like, I like that game. And then we played it again. You're like,
I like it more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a theme
for you.
For
yeah,
me.
That's true.
I mean, I'm just somebody who has to warm up to games,
That's true.
Generally speaking. There are some games that I play and I'm instantly in love with it. But
yeah.
That's pretty rare for me.
Most games I like super love, and then I kind of back off
Wane
that.
on
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is my surprising number 46, Great Western Trail.
Yeah, that was a big one. Big surprise. Okay. My number 46 is Heat, Pedal to the Metal. I really like Heat. I liked it when we played it at a lot of players. I thought it was really fun. We've played it at 2-player.
Yes.
And it was fine.
It was fine.
It was okay. But playing it with a bunch of players was
way
really fun.
Way better.
And I think it's really fun when people have to add a whole bunch of heat and then they spin out of control. I think that makes it really, really good. One thing I will say is I recently played it on BGA.
Oh, okay.
And it was really fun on BGA.
It worked well.
So they did a good job of playing it. And that was the first time I played it in a digital form. And I really liked that. Yeah. And you can play with a ton of people. And I just really enjoyed that.
Nice. I haven't played it on BGA yet.
You should try it. So that's my number 46, Heat. Pedal to the Metal.
My number 45 is Champions of Midgard.
Okay.
I specifically had in mind the one the Valhalla expansion added onto it.
Right.
If I didn't have the Valhalla expansion, it would probably be much lower on my list. But with the Valhalla expansion, it's up there pretty high for me. I love this game. It's a worker placement sort of battler.
Yes.
You're battling trolls and
Draugrs.
Yeah, Draugrs and other monsters.
Yes.
And you got to collect resources and travel on a ship to go fight monsters far away. And
your workers are dice, or I guess your Vikings are dice. And so when you roll, that's how you're fighting, and you can lose warriors into death, and then they go to Valhalla.
Yes, and then do other things for you, which is what the expansion does.
Yes.
That makes it so much better, is because before, in the original game, if you lost dice, you just lose that dice.
That's right.
There's nothing else that happens. You just lose it.
That's right.
In the Valhalla expansion, if you lose dice, they die and go to Valhalla, and then you get little tokens for that dice, and then you build up those tokens, and you get to do things in Valhalla that really impact the game. And it's like it feels like it's not wasted.
That's right.
And so it's so much better. I just really like it a lot.
Yeah, I love our plays. That's one we talked about in our revisitable game.
Yeah.
It's one that we wouldn't play all the time, but it's really fun to bring out 1 or 2 times a year. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's really good. And that is my number 45, Champions of Midgard.
My number 45 is Champions of Midgard.
Oh.
I cannot believe that we had that on the same number.
That is crazy.
That shocks me. But anyway, so it was a true crossover. I can't really say anything else about it. It's a great game. That's my number 45, Champions of Midgard.
Okay. My number 44 is Pandemic.
Oh.
Classic.
This low?
It's this low. Yes. Maybe because we've played it so much.
Yeah, we have.
But it's still an amazing game. I still love it. You are trying to save the world from the apocalypse, the infection apocalypse. It's so much fun. It's really tight resources, really hard to win, and really fun.
It is.
I think we have maybe one time not only cured, but eradicated all of the diseases. Maybe one time in all the plays. And we have probably dozens and dozens of plays.
Oh, we do. We have a lot of plays of it. Yeah.
I mean, it's probably getting fairly close to like 50 or 60 if I had to guess.
I'm sure. I'm sure it's actually more than that, because we've played it a ton before we ever started keeping track of plays. So who knows?
It's an amazing game. It stood the test of time for a reason.
Absolutely.
And it is my number 44, Pandemic.
Good choice. My number 44 is new to the list, and it is Flip 7.
Okay, yeah.
Flip 7, we just played this year, and we have quite a few plays of it. It is a game you can literally play with anyone. You have a card flipped up, and you have to collect 7 different numbers. However, if you get a duplicate number, you bust. And so after each card, it's like, do you want another card? And you can say, hit me, or you can stay. And if you stay, you get the points that are in front of you.
Yep.
But then you're stopping. You don't get any more cards. And so it's that chance. Are you going to go for it or not? It's that gambler kind of aspect.
Yeah. And if you do get 7 different cards, you get a big bonus.
That's right.
For the round. And then the round stops as soon as one person gets 7 different cards.
It's really hard to get.
It is.
And so, because there are 12 12s in the deck, 11 11s, 10 10s, and so on all the way down. So you can kind of gamble based on like, okay, I have a 4 and a 3 and an 11 in front of me.
Yeah.
Do I go for it or do I not? And you can kind of weigh those options.
Yeah. It's super fun.
Yeah. We've played it with a ton of people too. Yeah.
We've had lots and lots of really fun moments in this game with one of our gaming groups.
So that's my number 44, Flip 7.
My number 43 is Parade.
Wow. Okay. Your list is surprising to me.
I know. It surprised me a little bit too.
Okay.
But yeah, I love this game. It's also set in the Alice in Wonderland world. It's just a card game. You get some cards in front of you, and then there's a parade of cards of these Alice in Wonderland characters who are parading along, and you have to place a character at the end of the parade, and based on that number and color, you have to take cards out of the parade, and you don't want cards.
That's right.
The idea is to get as few points as possible. And so the more cards you take, the more points you get, and the worse you are.
That's right.
It's like, so if I put a 5 down, say I put a 5 black down, I count 5 cards up the parade, and then from that point to the beginning of the parade, I take any card that is a 5 or below.
Yes.
And I take any black card. And so you want to try and place a card where you take as few of cards as possible. And anyway, it's just really fun. We got to play it with, was it 4 or 5 people last?
4. It was 4 the last time we played. Yeah.
And I liked it actually a lot better than the 2-player version of it. It added a lot more dynamics to the game, and I thought it was a lot more fun versus the 2-player count of just you and I love this game. It's so good.
I really like it. We like card games,
yeah,
and so this was right up our alley. I wanted to try it. I'd heard a few people talk about it before, but nobody champions this game. And so I guess that's why I'm surprised that it made your list that high, but I love that it did. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. So that is my number 43, Parade.
Okay, my number 43 has already been on your list today, and it is Paint the Roses.
Oh, okay.
So Paint the Roses, for all of the reasons that he's already given. It is just a fun game. We have played it a lot. Like when we got it, we played it and played it and played it. So we played it until we were good at it, basically. Yeah. And so if you've ever played it, that takes a little bit of time. But anyway, so it's fun to try and outrun the queen. She's chasing you. She gets faster. And so that's really fun as you're trying to deduce and give each other clues. I just have really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And if you are good at picking up clues from the other player or other players, it's easier.
Yes.
But so it'd be interesting to play this with a group of strangers, or maybe some group that we don't normally play with, and see how it goes. That would be interesting.
I'm sure it would be a lot harder.
Oh yeah.
What we found when we played it was that you were really good at giving the clues, and I was really good at figuring it out. And so when it was the other way, we still were able to do it, but it was harder for me to give better clues and for you to figure it out. And so anyway, we found our little niche,
we
so
did.
to speak.
Yeah, we found our pocket, and it was me taking the higher end clues.
Yes.
I think they're the 5s or 4s.
They're considered the hard.
You took the hard
clues.
Yeah, I took the hard clues, and then so I was giving clues on hard clues, but you were taking like medium or easy for me to guess that, and so it really worked out because on your turns we would always be moving,
right?
And then when you would guess mine, we'd get big jumps,
right?
And so just really fun.
We had our strategy for sure. We did. But anyway, that was my number 43, Paint the Roses.
My number 42 game is Boop.
Of course. Now, this does not surprise me that this made your list at all.
Yes, Boop is a really little cute chess-like board game. There's a quilt, and you have cats and kittens, and you have to get 3 kittens in a row to change them out for cats, and then you get 3 cats in a row to win. Whenever you place a kitten or a cat, if somebody else places a kitten, if there's a kitten there, it boops it to the next space. And if now kittens can't boop cats, but kittens can boop kittens, cats can boop kittens.
Yes.
And so you're just like booping them all over the place, and there's a lot of strategy of like, I'm going to put this in this square, and then I think maybe she's going to put it here or here or here, and if she does that, it does this and this and this, and then how do I then use the next one to try and get my 3 in a line? And there's a lot of thinking that goes on in the game.
Yes. I do not think that far ahead. I cannot make that work for my brain. I have a hard enough time figuring out, once I place a cat, where do the other cats end up going? Like, that's the level I'm at with that game.
Yeah.
But it's still a lot of fun. I still really enjoy it. I've played it with like my daughters, and we're more on the same level. Yep. And then I play him, and he just annihilates me.
I did it first for sure.
Yeah.
You caught up a little bit.
Yeah, but
you went to where it was a little more competitive.
But the longer we go between plays, it's like I have to start all over and figure it out again.
You said that you caught up in competitiveness by watching what I did.
Yes.
And then figuring out
that's exactly
how I was doing it. So anyway, it's a great game.
I was going to say, it's not one from like a theme you would ever pick, because if you knew him, he's not like a big cat person or something. And so you would never have picked that game.
Yeah, I don't love this game because of the theme at all.
For sure. It has nothing to do with
it. It has nothing to do with it. It's strictly the like chess-like game of it.
Yes.
It's really, really fun. Not one that I would want to play over and over and over and over again. But
you say that, but we have a ton of plays of this game.
Yes, because we play them in bursts.
Yes, that's true.
So we'll play 10 games of it.
That's true.
In one sitting.
Yeah, you're right, because they're fast.
Yeah, but then I need to set it aside for a little bit.
That's right.
And come back to it. So anyway,
good point.
Love the game. It's my number 42, Boop.
My number 42 is Robinson Crusoe.
I knew this one would be in your top 50 for sure.
Yes. I loved this game from the first moment that we played it. It is brutally hard. There are decisions that you make in the game that come back later to haunt you. I love that aspect of the game. I think that's a great mechanism, because if you were on an island and you had to do something, those decisions would catch up with you.
Yeah, they have consequences.
They would have consequences. So I love that aspect of the game. I love that you're trying to figure out how to get these different tools to be able to use. You have to survive. You have to be able to eat. You have to find shelter. Like, it's so hard, but it's so like thematic to me. Yeah. And there's a part where there's storms and just all kinds of stuff, and it can destroy your shelter, and you're like, anyway, but I love that. I love a punishing cooperative game.
She does.
And so it's so much fun to me.
Yeah. I will say this game is incredible in the theme.
I love it.
Like, it is very thematic all the way through, from top to bottom. It's really good in that aspect. This is on my top 100, but not in my top 50.
Okay. I'll give that to you. I figured it probably wouldn't be in your top 50.
I'm actually surprised it's not a little higher on your list.
I know, maybe you'll be surprised by some of my
I'm sure I will.
So anyway, that is my number 42, Robinson Crusoe.
And my number 41 game is Unmatched.
Okay.
I like all of them. I love these games where you can take a map and you can take players from different versions of the game, and it all works in any map, any characters. I love that. And the one I like the most in this series is Cobble and Fog.
Yeah, as a set. Yeah, it's a good one.
But I like all of them. I love the fact that you like cycle through cards. I love games that do that, where you can cycle through cards and you get to see almost all of your cards every time in this game, usually. And you're moving around the battlefield and you're fighting and you have to defend. And you use the same cards. Some do defense, some do attack, some do both. And you have to kind of manage your hand. It's really fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of hand management in this because when you run out of cards, I think you lose.
The game ends, yeah.
Yeah, so that's hard too. You want to make sure you don't run out of cards, but you also want to utilize your best cards, all these things. So there's a lot to think about in this game. Yeah,
there is. And the map is set up in regions. And so sometimes, you get a ranged character and they can attack anyone in that region. And so you can kind of like do this game where you run away and fire and run away and fire. And
Can you think of any Unmatched characters that you really enjoyed playing?
Probably my favorite is the Golden Bat.
That's interesting that would be one of your favorites.
Yeah.
That one's in the cooperative version, right?
It is.
Okay, yeah.
But that one's my favorite one to play.
Okay, it's fun. Alice in Wonderland was really fun to me because she shrinks and she grows, and that was good. Sherlock Holmes is fun to play. I was trying to remember some of the other ones. I can't really remember right now, but there's some really good.
Man.
Is
one of them. Yeah.
There's some good characters though.
Yeah, and I love cooperative battlers, and even 1v1 battlers I love too. So it ticks a lot of boxes for me.
For sure.
Yeah, so that's my number 41. Unmatched.
My number 41 is No Thanks.
Okay.
This is a little card game that you are playing. You, again, are trying not to get points in front of you. And you draw a card and you decide, am I going to keep this card in front of me or am I going to pass it on? And if you pass it on, you have to give one of your little tokens and put on it and you say, no thanks. Now, the person can take your card and take the token.
Which are in-game points.
The tokens are in-game points, and the cards in front of you count against you.
Yeah.
So they decide, is it worth it, or are they going to pass it on? If they pass it on, they have to add another token to it. So it gets sweeter and sweeter as it goes around the circle, because it's gaining these tokens that will end up being worth taking however many points you're going to get.
Right.
And I just love it. We've had so much fun. Again, it's one of those card games that we've had really fun experiences that have come out of that game.
A couple of epic moments.
Yes.
Yeah. Shenanigans
galore. And so it's been really fun. We've played it with lots of different people, and I don't remember anyone not having a good time playing that game.
Right. It's a hit everywhere we play.
Yes. Yeah. And it's an older game. It's an easy 5-minute teach. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I always try to get the 32 card and send it around the table.
Yes.
Maybe once or
see
twice.
If it gets back to you with a bunch of tokens.
With like 6 or 7 tokens on it, and then take it. But
yes.
And I've tried a couple of times to send it around twice, but no one ever lets me do that.
Yeah, that usually bites you if you do that.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a really fun game.
So that is my number 41. No thanks.
Yeah. So this has been our 50 to 41 list, our first part of a top 50 series that we're doing.
Yay!
Of our top games of all time.
That's right.
As of right now.
As of today.
Yeah. And it's been really fun putting this together. It's been fun making this video, and I think it's just going to be a blast with this series.
If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.
And tell us down below what your 50 to 41 games are of all time. We definitely want to hear about it.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.